1 week to pick up a game, beat the game, and then learn to speedrun it so successfully that when you submit your run to speedrun.com, you don't come in last. For you, that might be easy. It depends on the game. It depends on how good you are. It depends on the time crunch you are under. And it depends on your anxiety. Could you keep up with the best speedrunners like Cosmic, Distortion 2, Suigi, Simply, or Small Ant? I already know that I couldn't, but I at least wanted to try and run the same races. In the fitness industry, there is this idea of the couch to 5K where a participant follows a structured workout routine to get ready for their first 5K. And many years ago, I did that. The only problem is, I hate running. Cycling, swimming, underwater, basket weaving, all of those I'm cool with. So I decided to take the idea of the couch to 5K and modify it for gaming. Instead of having a month to get ready for a run, I had a week. Instead of having to put petroleum jelly on my nipples to stop them from chafing, I would simply wear t-shirts. And most importantly, instead of going out and damaging the cartilage in my knees from running, what if I just speedran the original Super Mario Brothers that was released almost 40 years ago? That's it. I have 1 week to beat the original Super Mario Brothers that was released in 1985 and submit a good enough run to speedrun.com to show that I am not the worst speedrunner, but probably the most mid. But who cares? They say when you run your first race, it's just important to be a finisher. And I always finish. The first thing to do is to decide what category to run. We could do the any percentage run, but I felt like that would be a little too quick for our very first one. So let's do warpless. Then we looked at the fastest time. It's 18 minutes, 55 seconds, 929 milliseconds. They count milliseconds? Okay. What's the slowest time? 1 hour and 20 minutes. Wait, so why don't they show some love to Jarl Carl and show him the milliseconds that he had? I guess it's not important. Either way, I had to fit between 19 minutes and 1 hour and 19 minutes. Pretty big window, to be honest. After streaming it for about 3 hours on my first day, I realized that I could get all the way through World 5 pretty consecutively, but it wasn't easy and it wasn't clean. I kept finding myself getting all the way to World 4 with all of my lives, with the flower power, everything that you could possibly need, but for some reason things seemed to crumble whenever I got to 4-3 and whenever I got to 4-4. That castle for some reason gave me a lot more trouble than I expected. Not the maze, that was pretty easily figured out after the first little bit, but that Bowser at the end of 4-4 might be one of the more tricky ones in the game. You got fireballs, you got Bowser, you got the Wheel of Doom, Flame, whatever you want to call it, all of it at the very end, and just to try and make it through without getting hit is a little bit of a struggle. But eventually we made it through with only losing the flower power and not a life. But World 5 was always so much more of a struggle, just considering the fact that I usually took a hit by the time I left 4-4. I was beginning to understand that I didn't fully realize how hard speedrunning could be. I really suck at video games. It's probably a bit of both.
As I'm a column A, try all of column B.
But as for day 1, we never made it past World 5. Day 2 and 3, see, I'm not a full-time streamer, so I had to spend the little spare time that I had left really going through and practicing what I already knew. The goal was just to get mildly better in the 10 or 20 minutes that I had of free time. The only noteworthy thing that really happened during this period is that I stumbled upon Cosmic's How to Speedrun Super Mario Bros. 1 Warpless, but I ended up listening to it while I was driving, so I didn't get the full experience. I'm sure it'll be fine. So after those 2 days of really doing nothing, we got back on stream and we started to get down to business. I couldn't really tell you the specifics, but some of those things in Cosmic's videos really helped me along the way. I was hitting jump after jump, still struggling at certain parts, but inevitably making much more progress than I had before. And by much more, I mean, I got to World 8. Yay, progress. Which I know you can probably shame me. It should take me 3 hours to get all the way to World 8, but it took me 2 stream days, and I'm really happy to double the distance that I got in those days. So no judgment. I did learn a few things while going through all these different levels though. Number 1, and I'm sure it's obvious to most people that have beaten the game, Super Mario 1 repeats a whole bunch of levels, but they just add more enemies to make it harder. The water level from 2-2, let's just play that again later, but we'll add more Squidwards to the level. Cheap fish level, let's just throw in some random Koopas along the way. And one of the early platforming levels, let's just repeat that level, make the platforms a little bit smaller, and add a ton of random bullet bills. Maybe they're in a pattern, but I couldn't figure that out. I also learned that when you get to World 8, you don't get any more power-ups, or at least I think. I never found any. And those hammer bros can go suck a tail. Either way, I was picking up on some of the patterns and I was getting a little more confident with the game itself, even if those patterns are really obvious to most. But sadly, at the end of the day, I couldn't get any further than World 8-3. Day 5 and 6 were pretty similar to days 2 and 3. occasionally playing the game in my free time, picking it up and just practicing so I can keep my fingies warm for the big runs that were gonna follow. I would like to say that I made a lot of progress and the runs got so much cleaner, but to be brutally honest, I really just learned where a couple power-ups were along the way in case I got hit or in case I needed a star to get through the levels a lot quicker. Some levels got super smooth and some levels stayed insanely rough, but I guess that's, speedrunning, isn't it? After a week of dedicating my free time to get good at a game that was released 40 years ago, I knew that I only had today to get a speedrun recorded. So what did I do? I hopped on stream and I played marbles for an hour and procrastinated because I was a little anxious. But eventually I did start my run. My strategy for this last day, it was go fast. It's a speedrun. I don't really know how to you got to go quick, but not so fast that I wasn't able to collect the coins and get some extra lives along the way. I knew I was going to need them. I definitely missed the occasional split here or there, but slowly over time, World 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 all fell. I did die a few times along the way, so I'm glad I grabbed those coins, but eventually we passed 8-1, 8-2, and 8-3, inevitably leading us to the final castle. Even though I only had one life, I knew I could do it, so I slowed down a little bit just to make sure that there were no hiccups along the way. I swam through that final water section and popped out of the pipe, getting ready to face Bowser. I ran straight forward. I knew the Hammer Bro was right in front of me and that he was going to jump. He didn't jump. He was supposed to jump. What happened? Why did it end this way? I couldn't even get to the final Bowser. I never got to find Peach. Toad is just in a room alone with her, and I have no clue what they're doing. I have a pretty good idea. So sadly, that was as far as I got. 3 streams dedicated to beating Super Mario 1, but I failed. So I turned stream off, took a shower, went and got a cup of coffee, and it dawned on me. I still got plenty of time left. I'm gonna boot stream back up and do it for me. It took a handful of different attempts, but eventually we started getting to a run where everything fell into place. I was getting extra lives. We got through all the worlds, 1 to 8, and we got back to the castle. We got through that water pipe, and I was staring down that same Hammer Bro that got in my way. Except this time, I knew I could outsmart him. Instead of running straight forward to him and playing a game of chicken, I jumped. And when he jumped, I went underneath him and I outplayed that 8-bit 40-year-old Hammer Bro, moved on, ran across that bridge, jumped over, and I was finally able to beat Super Mario Bros. 1. It was done. I did it. I beat Super Mario Bros. 1 in a week and I submitted my time to speedrun.com. I may have forgotten to hit the split because I was so excited, but the wonderful people over there gave me the correct time. And as of right now, I'm the 310th best speedrunner for Super Mario Bros. 1 Bliss. Will I continue to speedrun Super Mario Bros. 1? Hell no, I'm moving on to number 2. We're doing this again. We're doing this for all 18 extra Mario games. What? So I guess we're doing Super Mario Bros. 2 next week. If you like the video, you can subscribe or share it with somebody, or go speedrun and submit your time to me and show me that you did a better job. Or you can come hang out with us on Twitch where we record all of the things for these videos and we talk about really weird random things like if you could eat a Zelda temple to lose weight, what Zelda temple would you eat? Yep. But as always, take care of yourself and the person next to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.